I'm HIROKI Tanaka, and this is ANGE LOFT, and over there, that's Alaska B, and we are in Yamantaka Sonic Titan.
I'm Brendan Swanson. This is Brandon Lim and JOANNA de los Reyes, and we are also part of Yamantaka Sonic Titan.
So Yamantaka means destroyer of death in Sanskrit, and in a Buddhist context, it means like destroyer of ignorance. So it's like cutting through the illusion of reality to understand the true nature of death itself.
But also, like literally, you cut off, you try to attack death and cut off one arm and a whole bunch of arms grow back in its place. And
That's not true.
That's how it works.
It's not. That's not how it works. In our foundation, we're actually an art collective, not just a band that plays music of a certain type. So when we're putting together a sound, it's a cohesive vision that represents the particular project that we're working on. I know there are certain things that repeat themselves, like interest in like Buddhist iconography and Buddhist music, and First Nations music and all kinds of elements of pop and metal, etc.
We all have backgrounds and different I have a musical theater background. We have a whole bunch of different personal influences, drawing from some wrestling bravado and stuff. There's a lot of things happening on stage, and a lot of incorporation of a little bit of kind of more popular, a little bit of activist symbols here and there, just things that kind of draw it back to reminding you that these stories are about a future possibility, a land, a place where the world is now collapsed. It's talking about a place where our environment has gone to shit and we now have to live in bubble cities above the world. So we make these fictional narratives, do these extreme over-the-top stage shows, putting more on stage than most people would in a general band. And I guess with the focus of just trying to get out of the mundane, right? But also a little bit of reminder here and there that we still have a lot to face on Earth.
I think the band, especially in the costume and the makeup as well, sort of carries that aesthetic through. And I mean, it's sort of, it's not really drawing off of anything specific. I mean, a lot of people like it to attach we get a lot of fans that are also present themselves as otakus that would be drawn towards this kind of band, but it's not necessarily referencing any specific anime or manga necessarily. So I think some people, I don't know, kind of draw their own sort of associations with that, especially with some of the Asian imagery, especially people are automatically always drawn towards the Japanese connection because they assume Yamantaka is a Japanese name.
There was this moment when we were trying to work on a larger project, and during that period we then embraced Chinese opera makeup and the general approach to it. And then, kind of created our own face paint tradition that is neither traditional Chinese opera or kabuki face paint or any other kind of face paint you can think of. Because I don't see much difference between those traditions and, say, The Undertaker, in WWE. Or, Celtic battle makeup or, black metal corpse paint. They're all the same kind of, face paint storyteller tradition.
It's one of the good things about running, being a theater person, doing, music is that you have to put on something else. I wouldn't want to do this from my own, myself. I like doing this in makeup because you could add another thing. You could talk about deeper issues when you have a mask, right? You could be like a kind of forceful and obnoxious what you're saying on stage if you have something as a barrier.
I was the first one to wear face paint, and it was Chinese opera face paint, but then it's called kabuki in the press. I've never called it kabuki. That was just kind of like applied. And so similarly, if Ange is doing,
Like all these weird. My design basis is pretty much like based on Cahokian mound culture civilizations possible origins of Iroquois people coming from this central, super pre-contact giant cities and metropolises.
But more specifically, musically,
Yeah.
Quite often what you're doing is erroneously identified as Japanese, or this thing is said, oh, it's more like this, or it's like that. I even see often like reviews when they try to, because of this whole genre question, I see things like, oh, they're just a discount blank, and it's always this obsession with like the performance of realness, where I feel like that puts us in a strange like conundrum where, because we're grabbing from traditional cultures as well, it means that everything that we do is kind of this oddity that needs to be pigeonholed and defined. And I feel like that people spend more time worrying about that than discussing about what we are actually doing.